The gym was always my safe space in high school. When my parents were fighting, a girl I like rejected me, and definitely when I needed to blow off steam when my parents ultimately announced their divorce. I was on the basketball team since fourth grade, but in high school, my love for the game grew even more. I started spending nearly every free minute I had in that old rundown gym, shooting hoops and doing practice drills. I'll never forget the first time I experienced something unexplainable. It was a typical Wednesday after basketball practice. As always, I had stayed after everyone was gone to practice, but also to avoid going home to the toxic shouting matches that were now a daily thing in my house. As I was putting away equipment for the team like I always did, I heard a noise up in the bleachers. That's odd, I thought. It sounded like someone running up and down the first few rows a few times. Once I looked over to see who was there, it stopped. There was no one around. I was always the last one out of the gym. In fact, Coach gave me a key a few weeks prior for the equipment room, so I could clean up or get equipment out as needed. I shrugged it off. Those bleachers are older than dirt. They're probably just creaking still from the team sitting on them a little while ago. I put all the basketballs neatly back on the rack, closed the closet, and made sure it was locked before heading to the locker room to take a shower and head home. 2 evenings later, I was again cleaning up after practice. The basketballs all lined up on the rack, ready for tomorrow. I had again closed and locked the closet and started to walk away, when I heard multiple thuds coming from inside. I figured I better go back and make sure nothing important fell off the top shelf. When I opened the closet, I was shocked to see all of the basketballs lined up on the floor, not one left on the rack where I had neatly placed them just minutes before. And they were spinning. A little freaked out, I quickly put all of them back on the shelf, not so neatly, and shoved the closet door closed. Looking back, I didn't even check to make sure I locked the closet that time. At this time, I started to suspect there might be something paranormal involved, but I wasn't sure if I was just being paranoid and overreacting. The next practice, I didn't stay after alone. Instead, I headed to the library to research the history of our school, something I'd never even thought of doing until I started experiencing these things. It turns out, back in the 60s, a varsity basketball player collapsed on the court. The coach and other adults in the gym gathered around him, and the school nurse started CPR. But by the time the EMTs arrived, he was already gone. I couldn't believe what I was reading. His name sounded familiar. Chris Johnson. I was shocked when I saw his jersey in the memorial picture. Johnson with the big number 6 on the back. I gasped, a little louder than one should in the library. That's my number. And that's why the gym is named C. Johnson Gymnasium. I always assumed it was some rich guy who donated a load of money and earned the title. The following evening, after practice, I was working on my drills when the basketball started dribbling on its own. I was in awe. I just stood there, staring at the ball. It was moving exactly as it would if someone were standing there dribbling it beside me. I snapped out of it and said, "Chris, is that you? I know your story." What happened next is still something I see in my dreams. The basketball he had been dribbling stopped. Thinking I scared him off, I turned to walk off when I heard a whoosh from behind me and the basketball went flying. It hit the padded wall behind the hoop. My heart stopped. It wasn't as if he was trying to hit me. It was far enough away from me. He was just confirming he was there, and I was right. After that evening, I had many more experiences with Chris. He would let me know he was there with me, and even pull pranks on me, like rearranging the closet after I put all the equipment away, or slamming the gym door right before I got to it. I never felt like I was in danger. I felt like he just never moved on, and hung around the gym for companionship with people his age. I often wonder if Chris is still roaming around that gym, playing pranks on the current students. I never believed in the afterlife or paranormal. In fact, I was the person who would try to debunk all my friends' experiences. Until my junior year of high school, that is. That year, everything changed. I was head cheerleader for the football team. On top of numerous practices, I was also in charge of choreography and coordinating events like car washes and bake sales. So needless to say, I spent numerous hours at that school building, either in the gym for practice, in the art room making banners and decorations, or in the office making copies of upcoming cheer routines for competitions, games, and assemblies. One Monday night after practice, I was in the main art room. I was making banners to hang for the upcoming homecoming game when I heard something fall, more like clatter to the floor in the art supply room a few feet away. I hadn't been in there for over an hour, so I know I didn't knock anything over. Wondering what had happened, I walked in to find all of the watercolor paints scattered on the floor. Odd, but okay, I thought. I cleaned them up and went back out to the main room to finish the banner I was making for the quarterback. I was tired, but I couldn't put these off any longer. I was adding the football helmets with the player's number to it when I felt like I was being watched. I whirled around, but no one was there. Okay, I really need sleep, I said out loud. I decided to clean up the supplies, bring some paper and markers home with me, and at least finish this in the comfort of my room. As I was walking to my locker to grab my backpack, I heard someone walking behind me. So I stopped, paused for a split second, and turned around. But again, no one was there. Okay, whoever's there, you've had your fun, come on out, I said. But no one revealed themselves. I let out a frustrated sigh, headed to my locker, and grabbed my backpack. I reached to grab my car keys from the command hook I kept them on, but they were gone. In an instant panic, I slammed my locker shut, ran back to the art room, and searched frantically, but they were nowhere to be found. The bathroom. I went to the bathroom right after practice. They have to be there. But they weren't. I checked every stall. Not just the one I used. I checked the trash can, the sinks, on top of the paper towel dispenser. Nothing. Even more panic now, I knew I had to grab my cell phone and call my brother to come help. He had a spare key to my car, but I also wanted help searching. I rushed back to my locker, flung the door open, and there were my keys. On the command hook. I know for certain they weren't there a few minutes ago. Piecing everything together from the evening, I knew it couldn't be a classmate. Our lockers have combination locks, and no one knew mine, not even my brother or best friend. I was still so panicked, I grabbed my bags and my car keys and ran out to the car. I never stayed alone after school again, and I still can't explain the events of that night, but now I certainly believe it could have been paranormal. Well, friends, I know this one was a bit longer, but I wanted to share both of those school stories in the same video. Do you have a school haunting story, or any paranormal story? Send them to me at the address in the description below. Thanks for hanging with me. See you tomorrow, friends.